welcome everyone to Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross, where we are your resource for education, connection, and collaboration. And today we have the remarkable Jason Wilson with us. He is a spiritual dream coach and the CEO of Circle of Friends. With a profound mission to empower individuals globally, Jason equips you with the tools to harness your God-given power to triumph over challenges like depression, anxiety, PTSD, and suicidal thoughts. And his transformative coaching series, Connection to the Promise, offers a roadmap to navigate the spiritual realm for healing from trauma, rejection, and unforgiveness. So, as the heart of behind Circle of Friends Club, Jason fosters a vibrant global community where connections flourish, mental wellness is prioritized, and support is just a conversation away, which I absolutely love. So, Jason, welcome to Mindful Mondays. We're so glad you could join us today.
Thank you so much, Laura, for having me on the show. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So can you share with us a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to start the Circle of Friends Club?
Wow. Where should I start, Laura? I think it's good to start for the reason why I came to Columbia. And I came to Columbia back in 2002 during the time when, there was nothing positive on social media or the internet or any place else about Columbia. And I wanted to come and learn Spanish, of course, and start a business. So I was actually in Atlanta during this time, and I was working in LA Fitness as a salesman. And during that time, there was a personal training director. He was also a pastor. And he was walking by my desk one day. He saw a Bible on my desk, and he said, do you ever have a chance to read your Bible? And I said, yeah. And we became friends, and I told him about a dream I had right before leaving Dallas, where I was, and moving back to Atlanta. And I had a spiritual dream. I don't know if you've ever had a lucid dream.
I have learned what lucid dreams are. Maybe you want to actually, before we go further, for those who don't know, you want to explain to them what a lucid dream is.
Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So a lucid dream is where you're aware that you're in a dream and you have control of all your senses. So you have your sense of touch, taste, hearing, smell, everything, just as if you were awake. And to explain this, your spirit actually leaves your body every single night and goes to the spiritual dimension where you have control over all your senses. But this was the first lucid dream I had ever had like this. I've had supernatural experiences and dreams over the 20 years I've been here. But this particular dream before I left the States basically led me into doing research on dreams and the supernatural and dream interpretation. So, I don't know if you've ever seen like a demon on a movie or a TV show, but I had a supernatural experience with a demon in a dream. And this thing was trying to kill me. It had its hands around my neck, choking me. I couldn't move. I couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything. And I just happened to be at my cousin's house the night before I was going to leave Dallas and go to Atlanta when I had this dream. And when I woke up, my cousin was like, Jason, what were you dreaming about? And I said, man, why didn't you try to wake me up? He said, Jason, I was throwing pillows at you. I was shaking you and you didn't move.
Wow.
And yeah, I didn't have the courage to tell him what the dream was about at the time. And I thought it was something crazy that I maybe was something that was from a movie I had seen or something like that. So I didn't think anything else about it. And I was washing my car the next day to drive home to Atlanta. And I noticed that my throat was getting kind of scratchy, like I was coming down with a cold or something. So I didn't pay any attention to it. I started driving. And mind you, this is a 13-hour drive from Dallas to Atlanta.
Right.
So after a couple of hours, I pulled off at like a McDonald's or something because my throat was getting kind of irritated. And I felt fine after that. A couple of hours later, I went to like a quick trip and got a Coke, felt fine after that. But by the time I got to Atlanta, I had excruciating pain when I was swallowing.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I got to my mom's house. I went into the bathroom, looked in the mirror, and looked inside my mouth, and it was all red and irritated and everything. And the next day, I had to go to the emergency room. I mean, it was so painful.
Oh, wow. Mhm.
So I got some medication for the pain and everything, and I had that job at the LA Fitness that I was going to start. Had to call my boss and let him know that I was sick. So he said, "Jason, don't worry about it. Just call me when you feel better." And like a week passed, I was sick.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
It is. It is. So getting back to LA Fitness, when I was there, and I was talking to my friend who was the pastor, and I told him about this dream. He said, "Jason, the devil tried to kill you." And I said, "Why would he try to kill me? I'm not a pastor. I'm not doing any kind of evangelistic work or anything like that." I didn't know exactly why that was until I got to Columbia and I started to have English classes, teaching English to executives at international companies as a second language. And, one by one, all these students started to come to me, talking to me about their husband, wife, boyfriend, or girlfriend in class.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them had supernatural experiences as well. So they would tell me about those stories. And one day, a student said, "Jason, I think you need to do something to help people more in the area of relationships." I said, "You know what? That's a great idea." And at the time, the movie Hitch was out. Well, in that movie, uh,
One of my favorite movies, but yeah.
so in that movie, there was a speed dating scene. So I said, "You know what? That would be an awesome idea for Bogota too." So I started a speed dating company. And so I had that from 2010 to 2015. And during that time, more than 200 couples got married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So during that time as well, a lot of the clients that were coming to our events said that, they didn't necessarily want to get married, but just have like a circle of friends, people that they could go to the movies with and do other activities. So around 2011, my current wife and I, we were pregnant with twins. And, twins is a big deal in my family. We have like 9, 10 sets of twins in my family on my dad's side. So we were actually pregnant with twins, and my wife had a miscarriage.
Oh,
So, I went through a hard depression. I didn't want to do anything. And at the same time, we had a speed dating event scheduled, so I had to host it. And so I made calls to everybody that was registered. And this one lady was actually from New York. And I said, "Wow, New York, okay." So I called her up like on like a Sunday. She answered the phone, and it sounded exactly like my grandma that had been dead for 2 years. I mean, it was really, really eerie, right?
wow. Mm-hmm.
So we got to talking, and she said that she had family from Brooklyn. Well, my grandmother and my mom were from Brooklyn. And so, with more conversation, she tells me that she had like grandparents from Barbados. Well, all of my great grandparents are from Barbados.
Wow.
Yeah, no coincidence. And then
Mm-hmm.
I get to the event that night, and out of everybody else, she walks up to me and she says, "You know who I am, don't you?" And I mean, it was the strangest thing I've ever experienced. It was kind of like I was looking at my grandma, but in a different body.
Right.
That's how it was. And so 2 weeks pass, and she says, "Jason, I want to tell you about this company. And I think it's really, really interesting, and I think you would like it." She said, "Let me give you the website address." I said, "Okay." So the name of it was Circle of Friends. And I opened up this website, and it was just full of events on the home page. I mean, everything from bowling to going to the movies, cooking classes. I mean, all kinds of different activities. I said this would be awesome too, and that gave me motivation to come out of my depression and get back to work. So I wasn't able to get the domain in English, of course. I got it in
Mm-hmm.
Spanish,
Okay.
Circulo de Amigos. So we did a couple of events, which went great. And after that, I hadn't talked to my mom in like a month and a half, which was really unusual. We were really, really close, and she had this boyfriend though from Haiti. I don't have anything against Haitians, but this particular gentleman was a warlock, and he would do stuff like take her to the ATM, withdraw all her money, and spend it on everything that he wanted to spend it on. So her house note wasn't getting paid,
Oh
car
my
note.
gosh.
I mean, yeah, nothing. So I called her up and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she said, "Jason, not too good at all." And I said, "Something seriously wrong here." She couldn't tell me what was happening because he was there in
Hmm.
the room. So I hung up the phone and I said, "Okay, Lord, tell me what's happening with my mom in a dream." So I went to bed, and like around 3 o'clock in the morning, I have this dream and another lucid dream. I'm standing at the top of this building in a city downtown. I couldn't recognize the city, but I see this huge bus like off in the distance. And inside the bus, I'm sure you've been to like SeaWorld and
Hmm.
maybe Six Flags,
Oh
and
yeah.
they had these water rides with this turquoise blue water.
Yep.
Okay. So the bus is filling up with this water. I couldn't tell where the water was coming from, but there were people inside there and they were screaming. So the bus was like teetering on the side of this building and it falls off and it hits the ground. And I go down to the street level. I see the bus and I pull open the door and all this blue water gushes out. And all the people on the inside of the bus are dead. But at the back of the bus, my mom was there. And so I pulled her out of the bus and I wake up. And I said, I don't know what's going on in Atlanta, but I have to get on a flight now and go home and see about my mom. So I got a flight and got to the airport. Red flag number one, the boyfriend picks me up in my mother's car at the airport.
Hmm.
And then red flag number two, from here all the way around to here, all my mother's hair has fallen out from all the stress that she had. So I don't
Wow.
know if yeah. So I don't know if you know the movie, not the movie, but the TV show Snapped.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're watching this TV show, my mom and I, one day, and after the show is over, she said, "Jason, do you see this cup on my nightstand?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, do you know what's in it?" I said, "No, I thought the thing was empty. I mean, it's been sitting here for like 2, 3 weeks." And she said, "Well, take the lid off and take a look inside." I said, "Okay." And I look inside there and I said, "Mom, what is this?" And she said, "Well, I saw this episode of Snapped, and this lady found out that her husband was cheating on her. So to kill this guy, she mixed antifreeze with Coke. She gave it to him. He drinks it, and not even 24 hours later, he was dead." And she said, "Jason, if you had not gotten on the plane when you did, I would be dead right now from drinking this." And it's antifreeze with Coke. And so,
Wow.
yeah, the color of it, it
Mm.
was turquoise blue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, from that dream, I had to do some research on dreams, and I became actually certified as a life coach. But my concentration was spiritual life coaching. But with more dream study and talking to people about their dreams, I put my concentration on dream interpretation. So that's what I do now.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's definitely understandable. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So, from Circle of Friends in 2011 to 2020, I really didn't know the mental health piece until then, until the pandemic. And I have a story about that. so, so in 2020, a friend of mine asked me to come to Bogota. I was living like 4.5 hours outside of Bogota, where I am now.
Okay.
And my friend was like, "Can you come to Bogota and help me manage my English Institute for a couple of weeks?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll come there and help you out." So I did my job. And at the end of the 2 weeks, I had to take a bus from Bogota to the town where I live. And so I got to the bus terminal. Everything is dark, and people are standing in line and whatnot. I'm like, "What's going on?" Come to find out that the whole city of Bogota was shut down because of the pandemic. So I couldn't go home. So I get back to his apartment and I called him, let him know what was going on. And I called my wife. Of course, she was pissed, that I'm stuck in Bogota. I couldn't go home.
Right.
And so, I hung up the phone and had a conversation with the Lord. And I said, "Okay, what would you have me do while I'm here?" And he said, "Start a podcast." I said, "Okay." I've never even been on camera. I haven't done anything like that. So I said, "I think a good idea to get this started is I'll organize some kind of event online and have a speaker. And so I sent out a bunch of DMs on LinkedIn, and Sugar Ray Leonard's son, Ray Leonard Jr., answered me. And he said, Jason, I would love to speak at your event. I think it's a wonderful idea what you're doing. I said, okay, great. Organized everything. I had maybe like 10 people come to the event. But anyway, the night of the event, there was a blackout in the neighborhood where I'm staying. So I had to contact all the people, let them know what was going on. And I called Ray Leonard Jr. He said, Jason, don't worry about it. This kind of thing happens when you're trying to do something positive. I
Mm-hmm.
said, yeah, you're absolutely right. Hung up the phone. 15 minutes later, the power comes back on, and we're able to do that event, which was awesome. And then maybe like 2-3 months later, I'm writing about this whole experience on LinkedIn on a post.
Mm-hmm.
And Marvelous Marvin Hagler's son, James, answers the post, and he writes a comment. And so I connected with him. We're having a conversation. And I said, you know what? I have a podcast show called Living on Purpose. Would you like to be my co-host? And he said, Jason, absolutely. So we ended up doing like 50 something episodes with celebrities and legacy fighters of famous boxers. It was an awesome experience. And God brought me back around to Circle of Friends. And I said, you know what? I need to do something for mental health through Circle of Friends Club, because all of our episodes, we were talking about mental health on these
Mm-hmm.
episodes. So then I said, well, I'm not sure exactly what kind of website I need or anything like that. So I ended up buying a template for my website that had the capability to offer people a business listing page. I said, this is awesome. We can actually expand the community, all over the globe with something like this. So here we are.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing how, and it depends on what, people believe. You can believe whatever you want, but
Yeah.
how things like that happen. But you at least paid attention to them. Sometimes people actually are getting signs, but don't necessarily pay attention to them.
Right.
So, but for one, how is your mom?
She actually passed away
Oh,
in
I'm sorry.
2014, but of natural causes.
Right. But at least you
Yeah.
were able to get her out of that situation and,
Yeah.
yeah, make it better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
And, I didn't know, but that trip that I was there in Atlanta, it turned out to be a 9-month period that I was there. And that actually was the last time that I saw her alive. So
Wow.
I thank God for that experience, that I had, time to say goodbye, at
Mm-hmm.
least. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And make a difference for the good for her as well.
absolutely. So
So, yeah.
basically everything that I do through Circle of Friends Club is in her memory, and my ex-wife's memory too. She actually died of cancer. So that's part of the reason why we're doing this oncology mindfulness event this weekend.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. We all have different things. It just kind of defines and kind of seems to route us to a different calling or, future other than what we thought. Because who would have thought we would have woke up and this is where we were going to be at.
Right.
But yeah. So how do you define community in the context of mental wellness, and why is it essential for healing?
Well, you know what? I think that one of the biggest things that people deal with when it comes to mental health is loneliness. I mean, loneliness is one of the biggest killers of people. And when you're dealing with depression, anxiety, or any other mental health issue, it's actually a spirit of depression or a spirit of anxiety that you're dealing with. And what the spirit wants to do is get you isolated. And then that's when the spirit of suicide comes in. And, a lot of people end up committing suicide because of that. They think that everybody that they're surrounded by, their family, friends, they don't love me. I'm a bad person. If I leave, nobody will miss me. I will no longer be a burden to anybody. These are the kinds of thoughts that people are having. And, these thoughts don't belong to the people. They're coming from these spirits that they're dealing with.
Right.
So that's why, I want to create a community where people can get connected to each other, no matter where you live. You can do this globally. But what I would like to do starting next year is to have hybrid events. You have the option of going to the event in person, or going to the event online.
Oh, and that works good too for those that are more introverts and don't really do well with big crowds,
Yeah,
because some people are extroverts. I tell people I'm an ambivert. I'm in the middle. So, I'm okay. But everybody needs that support. So, yeah,
absolutely.
and we have the technology to do that. So, and I know
Right.
some of them you're going to be doing stateside. So we have a lot more to cover about the unique features that you've got in the circle of friends and the events you got coming up. But right now we're going to take a quick break from our word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
Hey, we got soul. Oh yeah, we got soul.
So, Jason, what unique features sets Circle of Friends Club apart from other mental wellness communities?
So on our website itself, we have two memberships you can choose from. We have a friendship membership and a business. Basically, the difference is that with the business membership, you get a business listing page, which is wonderful because if you don't have a website, you can actually use this as a great contact for your business. It comes with a banner. You can embed a YouTube video. You can have the description of your business, FAQs, reviews. I mean, it's great to have. Also, your social media links and your website link if you have one.
Yeah. Plus, I believe it helps show you if something's going on in your area, correct, or who you can connect with in your area if you wanted to connect with them in
Absolutely.
person.
Absolutely. And beyond that, what we really want to do is that for people that are suffering from mental health issues, we want to be able to connect you to the right coach or the right therapist. So these are vetted people. These are people that we actually know, rather than going to, another app where there's like thousands of therapists. Nobody knows who they are. But with us, it's different.
Yeah.
We've actually met these people and we can give you an honest recommendation. And then also on the back end of our site, it's a platform that runs pretty much like Facebook or LinkedIn. You can interact with the other members in the community. You can post pictures, videos, other links from other websites, interact with people, and every interaction you gain points. So in the future, you'll be able to use these points in order to make purchases through our offers section.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
So there's really a lot to it. Can you share a memorable story from your circle of friends that highlights maybe the power of connection that you've had with it, or do you know of one that you've had?
Through Circle of Friends Club, I mean, we're pretty new.
Pretty new.
So, yeah, we've had the website like a month.
Okay. I didn't even
But
realize it was that new because it's already growing and exploding, and we, we're all like-minded. So I know it's been growing rapidly.
yeah, it's growing fast. But, we had members on there, but I wasn't really marketing it or talking to people about it because we didn't have all the features that we needed. So with all the features, that's pretty new. It's only been 30 days. So, I'm sure that we'll have some memorable stories with more events that we have. But as far as the events go, yes, I've seen some amazing things happen at our events. At Freedom Fight Expo, we started the Freedom Fight back in February this year, and we did February, March, and April. But at the very first event, we didn't know exactly what kind of impact that event would have. But everybody's story, beginning with Ray Leonard Jr., he came to that event, he spoke. Starting with him, he was talking about a friend of his that had just died. So at our event, this thing maybe had only happened maybe like a week ago. And he said, you
Right.
know what, I'm really not in the spirit to be here right now, but I think it's only fair to you guys for me to tell my story. And he went into everything that he was dealing with on a personal level with his friend. And it basically opened up a space where everybody felt safe to talk about their personal experiences as well. And you could feel the Holy Spirit there in the event. I mean, everybody was so impacted and inspired and encouraged by everybody's story. I mean, it was a really, really special experience. And every event after that has been the same exact thing. I'm sure that this weekend will be no exception.
Yeah. So you said one of the things you had started, I believe you said started with a podcast. Taking on an event and an expo is kind of a really huge undertaking. So what
Yeah.
motivated you to create that event?
Well, I wanted a way that we could feature the speakers that we have in our community, because we have speakers, we have athletes, coaches, therapists, mental wellness practitioners. We have a really, really nice, well-rounded community, I think, from when it comes to from a holistic approach,
Mm-hmm.
everything that addresses the needs of the body, the mind, and the spirit. So I wanted to have some kind of event where I could, basically address all these issues that people have and feature the speakers in our community. So that's why I did it. And I mean, it's a passion. I love to organize this event. It's fun. It really is.
How often do you have the events?
So we do this on a monthly basis,
Okay.
usually like around every second weekend or third weekend of every month. But from organizing this event for cancer this weekend, I can see that we're going to have more frequency of the events with cancer. I can see that already. I mean, from the people that I've met, and then also from people that have an interest to have a group for men that just get together and talk about their experiences, and then also another group for women that do the same thing. I can see this just exploding all over the place. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's
I
great.
know of a lot of people it impacts, and it doesn't just impact, the person going through it, but their loved ones, their friends, and not everyone, not everyone knows how to. I don't know that there's any right or wrong way to deal with it. We all have to deal with things in our own way, but, having some kind of support would definitely, go a long way.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so how does the Freedom Fight Expo align with your mission of empowering individuals to overcome their health challenges, their mental health
So
challenges?
So yes, good question. Thank you. So all the speakers in their talks, they talk about their personal experience with mental health issues. In this particular case, this weekend, they're talking about their experience with cancer. Maybe and not in all cases, they had a personal experience. Maybe it's their wife, husband, or another family member or a friend that they're
Mm-hmm.
talking about. But then after that, they give some tips and tools to the audience in order to empower them and give them resources to where they can use these things in order to improve their situation.
Wow. Okay. So, what types of activities and resources can attendees expect to experience at those expos?
Well, I made some great friends through organizing this event. One actually wellness center I was able to connect with is called the Reset Medical and Wellness Center. So they have treatments for PTSD. And of course, if you've been diagnosed with something as serious and life-threatening as cancer, it causes trauma. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, serious trauma. So they have a procedure where you go in for a couple of days. It doesn't take long. It's a 20-minute procedure, and you're right out. And the results that they've had with this treatment is phenomenal. So they treat PTSD, depression, anxiety, and suicidal ideation as well. So
Wow.
that's one of the resources. And another speaker that we have, her name is Rochelle Prosser. Rochelle actually spoke at our March Freedom Fight Expo. And Rochelle has a cancer library on her website, and she does a lot of work with cancer. She's a registered nurse as well. So she has great resources for people that are suffering from cancer.
And I think resources and education is huge,
Yeah,
because if you're trying to research a lot of that stuff on your own, you can go down one rabbit hole after another, and it could be a whole ton of misinformation. So having resources, I would think, and hearing from someone who is experiencing it or going it or has been through it, um, is a phenomenal value for
yeah,
people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think all the speakers have some kind of story that will give you a resource. One of our speakers as well, his name is Michael Permack. Michael is a brain cancer survivor.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he has, an amazing story, and people are going to learn a lot from him too.
Yeah, yeah, lots to learn from. So, what role do you see support networks playing in recovery processes for those that are struggling with mental health issues?
Well, it's interesting. You retired from the Air Force, right?
Didn't retire. I was offered an early out, but yeah,
Okay. Okay.
my
Well, that's
husband
even,
died a year and a half before he would have retired. It's easier to move with only one of you in, so I was offered an early out, and I took it.
well, that's a phenomenal option.
Yeah,
So, I can see that people all over the world will be able to come to these events and receive a tremendous amount of help. Um, and through this event that we're currently doing this weekend, 50% of the funds or the proceeds will go to an organization called the Emmerman Angels. And they send one-on-one support and mentorship to cancer survivors, cancer fighters, and caregivers. So that's another resource as well that people have access to.
right. And that's your current event, but you've got other events planning on coming up and covering different topics as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. So next month in September, that event will be for PTSD and suicide prevention. Then in October, that event is for breast cancer, and November is for domestic violence.
Wow.
So yeah, so we have a different topic every month.
Nice, nice. Well, not nice that's it's nice that I mean, you know what I mean. It's
Yeah,
nice that there's support for that. It's sad that we have so many people that struggle, and are affected by those things. But
yeah,
it's a good community to build.
it
So
is. It is. So I'm excited to do it. I'm, actually honored to do it. I've actually not personally have dealt with a lot of these issues myself.
mhm.
So, I can have compassion and empathy to help people with. And that's the reason why I do it.
So the events you're doing now, are they in person? Are they online? Or are they a hybrid?
So right now, for the rest of the year, all the events are online. But
Okay.
starting next year, I'm not sure exactly when, we'll start to do some hybrid events too.
Nice. And
Yeah.
I think your website, right? The Circle of Friends, will they be able to find a link to the Freedom Fight Expo there?
Yeah, so on the homepage you can find it, and then also if you click the link on the QR code and go to the website, you can click on the events button on the homepage as well, and you'll find the event page.
Nice. So, what do you hope that people will get from the Freedom Fight Expo, both during the event and in their ongoing journeys?
Well, through my whole journey as a personal trainer and working in the fitness industry for 10 years before I left the States, I've always encouraged and motivated people with whatever I was doing. So my hope for people is that they come to our event and they leave encouraged, motivated, and leave with the feeling that, all of these people have gone through horrible situations with their health. I have my own personal situation, but it's possible for me to overcome mine as they did with their situations. And I think that people having hope is the biggest thing for this event.
Yeah, hope, support,
Yeah.
That's my whole reason mostly for doing this, is so that people know that they're not alone. There's other people out there struggling, which is, why I thought it was amazing after you and I had connected. But it's just, like I said, it's amazing how people happen to just come in your path.
Yeah.
But so how can individuals who may be hesitant to reach out for support find their place within Circle of Friends Club?
So I can be found anywhere on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. If it's on Facebook and Instagram, you can go to Circle of Friends Club. On LinkedIn as well, you can go to Circle of Friends Club. You can find me personally on LinkedIn at JW the Healer, or you can just simply go to our website, circleoffriendsclub.com.
Nice. So as we're looking towards the future, what vision do you have for the impact of Circle of Friends Club and Freedom Fight Expo on a global mental wellness?
Well, we want to be able to stop suicides. That's my mission. That's something that I'm really, really passionate about from my own experiences with my mom. So I want to be able to help people know that, number one, they're not alone, that God loves them, and that there's always a way out. They're not stuck where they are. There's always a way out. There's a solution to everything. But with Jesus, everything is possible.
Yeah. And that story you shared, because you said, when he asked you, he didn't know what was going on, but you didn't tell him, but yet you found it okay to talk to somebody else. Was it just the timing? You just had a sense of it? Or, I mean, because a lot of people, what you've described, a lot of people would probably chalk up to just say that was an overactive imagination.
Right, right. I think it was just the timing of the whole thing, and that I knew he was a person to be trusted. So I think that's a huge factor when people sign up for therapy and coaching. You need to be able to trust that person, and you need to have a good relationship with that person too, to be open about whatever it is that you're dealing with. So that's why I think it's really, really important for us to be able to refer people that we know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is huge, because I mean, relationship, at least to me and most people that I know, is everything. It's relationship first, business last.
Right.
A lot of people put them the other way around. It's like, no, no,
Yeah. I mean, God works through relationships. So
it does.
whatever business that you have, I mean, it's always based on relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Now you have a podcast still, correct?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Your Circle Back to You. Yes.
Yes. Circle Back to You podcast. We interview mental wellness practitioners, athletes, entrepreneurs, a nice mix of people that talk about their mental health journeys as well, how they overcame it, and then everything business-wise that they're doing right now to help people. That's what the show is about.
What this about? Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
And we have the QR code for that up as well. So, I mean, you already got quite a few things going.
Yeah, it's gonna get even busier.
So what do you got plans for? Where do you see all this going? Do you integrating them, or where do you see all this going?
Well, just to give you an idea of what we're going to do with the podcast show, I want to do a live version. I haven't done a live version of my podcast yet, but I think it's time, because I want to have a bigger reach on LinkedIn. That's where I'm going to host it.
Okay.
So I'm going to do it there as well as YouTube. But I want to give people in our community, entrepreneurs, people that have products and services, the space where they can actually sell these things live. That's what I want to do. Kind of like QVC.
As I say, you're gonna make your own QVC.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Wow. Definitely have a lot going on.
Yeah. So that's the next step for me.
Yeah. So what else would you like to share with everybody about the Circle of Friends Club, what you're doing, who you're looking to connect with?
I think, if you're in a position where you feel alone, you don't have a group of friends that you can connect with outside of work, or you're dealing with a mental health issue, you have a community that you can belong to with us at Circle of Friends Club. And then also, If you are a therapist or a coach looking to start your own practice or connect with a client list of people that actually need your service, you can come to us as well.
Yeah. And mental health is not always necessarily severe. Some of it could be kind of mild compared to some.
Right.
I mean, we have different ranges on that. But
Absolutely.
it's really to help and serve everybody. Do you have any idea of what you're looking at for next year? I know you said you're doing them all online. Are we going to have live events next year?
Yes, we'll have live events next year. I'm looking at Las Vegas. I think that Las Vegas would be a good location for the first hybrid event.
Good. Yep. I've been there a few times. It's definitely got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Some people might need mental health after being there, depending on where you visit. But
well, one of the ideas that I have also for that particular event, it'll be a space where we're going to have a Freedom Fight Expo. So they'll be able to come and listen to all the speakers. But we're going to have like a friendship event where you can actually expand your circle of friends at an event with live music, entertainment. It's going to be fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep. I was just saying, well, yeah, Las Vegas is entertaining in itself, but you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, being around like-minded people, having that support, it can really be rather transformative or energizing in a more positive way.
Right. Yeah. So all the people that we have in our community from Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, you'll be able to meet these people there at the event. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, that would be, because I mean, we've been doing stuff so long, and I think COVID launched a lot of that, right? You know,
Yeah.
because we were all shut down, and I think a lot of podcasts and stuff came around. But yeah, I mean, now we can still do that, but now we can like actually meet in person for those of us
Right.
that love to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we still have some time left. What is the most important thing you want people to know and leave them with today?
We basically touched on that already, you know, that you're not alone. The loneliness that people go through. And when it comes to kids, you know, if you're a parent, make sure you have conversation with your kids on a regular basis, because you know, most parents, you know, they're all into their work to take care of their family, which I totally get. I have a son myself; he's 14 years old, so I understand that piece, that you want to be able to provide for your family, but also it's really, really important to have a relationship with your kids. And you know, have open dialogue to where you know what's going on, because um, a friend is not an iPhone 15. I mean, that's not a friend.
No.
And you know, and these kids are being exposed to a lot of things that, you know, we weren't exposed to as kids, and it can be dangerous.
Yeah, it's
Really, really
amazing how
dangerous.
brave people can get with, you know, we knew we had bullies or, you know, nasty people when we were growing up, but it's a whole different world. I was talking about that the other day with someone, where you can just, you know, they got all this technology to hide behind and do
Yeah,
it just the same. And it takes its toll on people, which is sad.
yeah. Yeah, we had a speaker at our March event from Freedom Fight Expo. She was only 23 years old, but she was actually involved with a guy that was molesting her, and she met this gentleman through Facebook, and her parents had absolutely no idea what was going on.
Wow.
And so she was in and out of mental institutions, I mean, at a young age. And so now she basically uses her whole experience in order to help other kids, which is awesome. I mean, not everybody can turn that corner
No.
and use what they've been through in order to help other people. But she was suicidal as well when she was a kid.
Yeah.
So
It takes a lot of courage to raise above that and share your story. A lot of people don't, because they're afraid of being, you know, judged or ridiculed. But yeah, and I want to thank you for sharing your journey with us. That is, wow.
thank you.
That is amazing. I think a lot of that would have freaked me out. I'm surprised you're was it whoever was with you didn't freak out the fact that they couldn't even, wake you up out of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, actually, he was freaked out.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine so. Because
Yep.
people get kind of, panicked if they can't snap you out of it and you don't know what's going on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you are still coaching with people, do you not, for dreams?
Yes.
Dream
Yeah, I
coaching?
do. I do that on a regular basis. I haven't really marketed it yet on LinkedIn. I'm waiting until after this event, and then I'll start to talk about that on LinkedIn.
Yeah, but you also obviously have your own experiences and stuff. And
Yeah.
I've met a few people lately that actually know what lucid dreaming is. And some people I've heard them talk about where they love it because they don't want to waste a second of their life, sleeping. So they get a lot done, in their lucid dreaming too. And I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, and you can get a lot of insight from those dreams. God talked to people all the time through dreams, so
Yeah,
anybody.
I've heard people get inspiration
Yeah,
or guidance as to maybe where they should go next, what they should broaden into.
exactly.
It's really amazing what can happen when you have an open mind.
Right,
And I think it does
and
take an open mind.
it does. And just to give you a couple of examples with witty inventions, I mean, Thomas Edison discovered the light bulb in a dream, and
Yeah.
a lot of inventions that Nikola Tesla had, he had from dreams as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Really incredible stuff. And I think that's incredible work as well.
it
But
is.
I want to thank you for joining us and sharing this. I look forward to seeing to where this platform goes, the Circle of Friends Club. I think it's important and it's huge to build these communities of support and resources. And like you said, we don't have to be in Bogota, Colombia, or
No.
anywhere Colombia. It's everybody, and that is part of the good power of the internet and the technology we have today. But
Yes, it can be used for good.
it definitely can be. But I want to thank you for joining that and joining us and sharing that with us. Anyone, if you know people that have struggled from mental illness, mental health, suicidal thoughts, PTSD, any of that, obviously this is a good platform. I would definitely reach out and connect with Jason. And your expo you have coming up this week, I believe, right? They can still
Yes.
join.
Yes, on Friday the 9th, the 10th, and the 12th. Excuse me. Yes, 9th, 10th, and
10th, 11th.
11th. Yeah. So we have 5 speakers featured on Friday, another 5 on Saturday, and we have a prayer service on Sunday.
Nice. And that one's covering oncology and cancer. So, and I know
Right.
there's that seems to be a word going around a lot. I've had family members. I now have a friend with a family member, and every time I turn around, it seems like you discover more people are battling with that. So
Yeah, it is. It is.
yeah,
I have a lot of friends that have cancer.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, wishing them all the best, and thank you so much for creating a platform like that to give people those resources.
thank you.
And yep. So thank you for joining me, everybody. As always, we will see you again next week. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful week. Oops.